What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel, Audrey B. And you are back for another Abbott Elementary recap. So let's get into the video. All right, y'all. So this episode was called Work Family. And basically, it all stemmed from Janine finding out something about Jacob that she thought she should have knew by now, but she didn't. The show opens up with Janine and her boyfriend, which we find out his name is Tariq. I don't know if they said that when he first appeared on an episode, but I was just like, oh, okay, that's his name. His name is Tariq, and we see that Jacob is in the back seat. We all know that from previous episodes that Janine's boyfriend is an aspiring rapper, really doesn't do much, pretty much like a fly off the seat of his pants type of person, depends on Janine to do everything, kind of a loser, don't really have a vision, don't really have stuff going on for himself, and he's like kind of leeching off of her, right? And he's going to be coming to the school with them because he's going to be performing for a drug or stay on a drug program, kind of like how Dare was, but they called it Fade, and I don't remember what it meant. I think it's like Friends Against Drugs or something like that. So they're in their carpool, and once they get out, Janine and Jacob are walking through the hallway. Like I said, they're having the conversation. He spills the beans about his relationship, and Janine was like kind of taken aback, like, clutched my pearls. Like, what do you mean? Why didn't you tell me these things? How come I didn't know? I've been around you this entire time, and I'm just now finding this out. And come to find out, Jacob really just looks at Janine as a work friend. And we all know what that work friend is. Like, the people that you are cool with, you kind of give the side eye to in the meetings, the side eye to on your jobs. You have all type of conversations. They may know like a little bit about your family and your home life, but they don't really know like the deep details. And y'all only hang with each other when you're at work. Nothing outside of work. And I have plenty of those. Miss them dearly, but that's just what it is. And again, I have my close friends who I consider family, really, that know a little bit more about me, ins and outs, and vice versa. So she's kind of looks like work friends. Like, what do you mean? I thought we were friends. And he's kind of like, yeah, kind of playing it off a little bit like, no, like I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't mean to make you upset, but that's just how I took it. And so she was just like, whatever. So then it switches to Greg in his class. He says that they are getting prepared that they are getting prepared for state assessments. And if you know anything about that, like, it's just money for the school, I guess. Really don't think that they should have those type of tests for school, because to me it really doesn't show anything, but that's neither here nor there. So he's like teaching his class. The class looks bored out of their minds. Remember, they're second grade. They probably have a lot of energy, and they're just sitting there listening to somebody talk. Then he's like, okay, well, y'all don't want to do this. Let's go over these math problems. So in comes Barbara, and she's like, hey, yeah, I didn't see your class outside during recess. Like, what's going on? And he's telling her, like, state testing's coming up. They need to get it together. And she tells him something on the lines of, like, she figured basically he needs to loosen up. And if one kid doesn't do so good or so hot on a test, that's the child's problem. But if the entire class doesn't do good, it's the teacher's problem. And she was like, that's kind of like the motto that she lives by. So to me, she was just kind of like, bruh, it's going to be okay. Do your best. Your kids are going to do their best. It's not that deep. It's not that serious. Like, you need to engage with your kids. You need to make your classroom a little bit more lively. You need to have fun. And he's just like, well, I'll take any type of pointers that I can take since I'm still here. And she's like, meet me at lunch. And he's like, cool. So they get to the break room and everybody sees that it's like pouring down raining outside. They are getting prepared, like I said, for the assembly for second grade. And they're talking in there. In comes Janine, and she's like, you know what? I have an idea because she threw a little bit of shade to Jacob. She was like, I have an idea because since we're not quote unquote friends, for us to get to know each other, I feel like we should all not just consider ourselves work friends. We should consider ourselves family. So let's do it. And everybody was just like, basically like, girl, why? That is what it is. That's just how stuff goes. Leave it alone. And just basically like, girl, you're doing too much. But according to her, she's like, we love each other. Like, you guys, we gotta, make it a loving environment and get to know each other on a deeper level and all that stuff. So, then it cuts to commercial. Then it shows Mel and Barbara in a part of the lounge, I guess, having a teaching, like a mock teaching session with Greg to let him know how he should engage with his students, how he should teach. They had the songs, they had the turkey song, they had different versions of, or very different variations of things that he could do to make teaching fun. Like, teach your lessons, but incorporate some fun stuff to get the kids going, to show more of your personality. Don't just be so stern. Don't just be so strict. And he kind of was just like, I don't really want to do it. But then, they got him to do it. And he was like, okay, I get it. Got it. Good. Then in comes Janine from the pouring rain. She goes to everybody's favorite chicken spot. And they're like, oh my gosh, give me some chicken. I'm hungry. Girl, you did that. Thank you for my lunch. She's like, no. You can't get any chicken until we get to know each other better. So she's just like, I have a game, or icebreaker, as I like to call them, where we're all going to write down secrets about ourselves, and we're going to try to figure out who is who. And you cannot get any chicken until you participate in the game. So everybody just does it and huffs and puffs about it, but they all engage in the activity. So in the middle of this activity, Greg's phone starts ringing, and it's his dad. And it's a FaceTime. So he's like, okay, I'll be back. So he goes out in the hallway, and his dad is just like basically like joking on him about, his teaching job. Like, you're still babysitting. Why don't you do a real man's job? When you gonna start coming working for me with the landscaping company? Because remember, whenever the episode was about them getting the garden, he said that his grandfather had a company and then his father took it over and it's a family business. But he was just sitting there kind of playing it off. But you know how it goes, how, you're very, very passionate about something and other people don't get it. Other people don't understand it. And they make jokes about it. It makes you uncomfortable, but you don't really speak up. You don't really say anything. You kind of just like, ha, 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 just kind of like laugh it along. So that's basically what he was doing. And he was just kind of like, you want to be a principal? Like, and he's, just happy about telling his dad about the things that he's doing. He's subbing right now, but he's applying to different jobs to be a principal. And his dad was just like, a principal for what? Like, that ain't a man's job, blah, 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 blah. And so you see, it kind of makes him upset. And to me, it's like, this whole storyline of like a militant father who has his own version of what a man is supposed to be, or what a man is supposed to do, or what a man's job is supposed to be, and his son kind of veering off to do his own thing and comfortable with doing his own thing, but also still wants to make his dad proud and please his dad. So it was kind of that type of conflict going on inside of Greg's mind, I could tell. So then they hang up, he goes back in, and he's kind of like not feeling the activities off to himself. In the midst of the activity, everybody's, Janine's reading off the secrets on the cards, and it ends up being her secret about being with her boyfriend since she was in the 8th grade, and something else on it. And everybody was kind of like, 8th grade? And then, of course, Ava is making jokes about that. And just like, you've only slept with one person? You only been with one person? Oh my God. Like, are you a Mormon? Like, all type of stuff. And so then they got to start digging even more with Janine about this particular boyfriend. Like, what does he do? How is he? How does he treat you? Da 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 da. And she's kind of like she's trying to avoid, but she's answering as well, because like I said in the beginning, you could tell like she's, I don't know if the word is embarrassed about him, but she's kind of like, he's not your average. Like, I know him, so I can take him, but when he's around other people, or maybe more professional people, he can get a little ratchet, he can be a little extra, he can be a little different. He's not your average Joe, right? So she's kind of like I said, she's answering their questions, but and then it turned into a whole Janine session. And then again, as it often does, when Janine is trying to do the most and save everybody and be close to everybody and be this woo-saw moments and these kumbaya moments, it ends up backfiring on her just a little bit, which it did. And by everybody like basically like asking all these questions and digging deeper into her relationship, she starts to become defensive about it, and she's like making all these excuses of why she's been with him so long and all this other stuff, and then she just storms out because she gets upset. I don't really remember what it was that made her upset, but I guess just like I said, just the heat of the kitchen per se that made her run out. So guess who runs after her though? Like I said, mark my words, her future boo, Greg, runs out. Homegirl is standing in the middle of the rain, pouring rain, outside the school. Here he comes with the umbrella like, are you okay? And she just kind of like in her head about it. And he was just like, you really shouldn't get upset about what other people have to say about the choices that you make, because these are your choices and you have to live with them. And basically you need to do what makes you happy. And in him saying that, he had kind of like an aha moment, like, dang, I'm telling her this, but I should really apply that to my life when it comes to what I love to do, which is teaching and pursuing, to be a principal when it comes to my father. And he just basically just blurted out like, my dad doesn't accept the fact, or my dad doesn't like the fact that I teach, and he always has something to say about it. And Janine was just like, well, do you like, and then he's like, you should basically do what makes you happy. So she turns and she asked him, does teaching make you happy? And he basically was like, yeah. And then he asked her, does Tyreek make you happy? And then she just kind of like, and then they look at each other, because like I said, she's been in her head about, I can tell because I've been there, like she's been in her head about her boyfriend, probably her future, probably her life, probably, everybody can see he's kind of a bum, a buster. Like, he's really not doing anything for me. He's like, I'm basically taking care of him. He's like a child to me, not necessarily my boyfriend. So, we're not on the same level. And I know that, but I don't want to let him go because he's all I know, basically. So, she was like, I can tell. Like, that's all that was going in her head. And so then all of a sudden he pulls up in her car and saying some silly stuff about like, why y'all outside, it's raining, I'm ready for my performance, because he's acting as if, he's on the BET Awards or somebody. So then they go to commercial, they come back, and the performance, the assembly, y'all. I was like, what is he doing? He had his little confessional, and one of the little girls came with a clipboard, like, she's making sure everything's all right with him, and he's calling her the creative director or whatever he called her, and then gets on the stage and has like one of the worst performances, but whatever, it got the kids hype. The beat was dope, so I guess whatever he was saying really didn't matter, but he was rhyming all type of drugs with other words, like, if you smoke weed, don't come near me, I get high off life, like that type of stuff. It was very corny, but so in the midst of him performing his song, everybody was kind of like, that's him, whispering and stuff, and she's just like, standing in the crowd, and everybody's like, oh, that's him. He's a lot to take in. And then here go Ava talking about some, I see why she like him. This is dope. Y'all, that's my girl, but she's off the chain too. So then, like I said, Janine is sitting in the crowd of the assembly Greg is there. They're kind of looking at each other, giving each other the eye, like, do you see him? Like, come on now. So then here comes Jacob, and he basically is like, hey, I just want you to know you are more than just a work friend to me, because if you weren't, why would I know these different type of things about you? And she's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he tells her, like, I didn't tell you about my relationship because if I start to talk to you about my relationship, then we're gonna have to start talking about your relationship. And basically, to me, that meant like he knew that her dude was full of crap and she deserved better. And she was just kind of, listening, but also paying attention to him, probably thinking like, man, all the time I've wasted, all the things I could have been doing for me, but I put myself back behind to, try to support you, try to be there for you. I pour into you, I give to you, but I get nothing in return. And so like I said, I've been there. So I could tell like this, all the stuff that was flowing through her mind, and she's understanding like, I really am outgrowing. Like, I don't have time for this anymore. Like, I've been with you since 8th grade. Everybody's right, basically. Like, everybody is right. Like, what am I doing? And she asks Jacob, like, his honest opinion of Tyreek, her boyfriend. And he basically was just like, I get where you're going. You should let him go. And she was like, was it? And he mentioned that he had an ex where he never thought that he would be able to let the ex go. But if he didn't, never would have met the person that he was in a relationship now, which is a super dope, great person. And he also would have never found the true Jacob, a happy Jacob, a joyful Jacob, somebody that he never knew that he could be. And it was like basically telling Janine, I think it's about time for you to be the best Janine that you can be without him. And she kind of smiled and smirked and was like, yeah, and agreed. And then we see like not Jacob, but Greg's class was just kind of standing around while other kids was dancing, doing all the other stuff, jumping and hopping with the song. And they were looking at him and he's looking at them because, like I said, he's been very strict this entire time, very stern, like playing no games, not really letting the fun side out. So once he was just like, you know what, just let me just loosen up. He started dancing, and all of a sudden you see his entire class just jigging, enjoying themselves, having a good time. And that just showed me like when you're free and you're being yourself, but you also let the kids know like you don't play like how I do, they enjoy it. They have a better time like respecting you. They have a better time in your class. And they feel like they themselves can be free and express themselves as well. So I just feel like the entire theme was just to be happy. Like Greg said, do what makes you happy. Don't worry about what other people are saying, but also be mindful, because a lot of the times when people are saying things to you out of love, especially friends, it's because they can see things that you can't, and they want the best for you as well, especially if they're your friends, really, really true, close people. They want the best for you. And don't push people away when they give you that advice, or get upset or get defensive, as Janine did in the beginning, because a lot of times they're right, and we know they're right. That's why we try to push them away, because we've been thinking of things, we just haven't said it out loud. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was a good little episode, y'all. Really not too much going on, but it was very, very good. Found out some things about Jacob, which I did not think or know, but I'm glad little by little we're learning more and more about these characters, y'all. So that is all for my recap. I tried to keep it under 20 minutes. I think I did a good job. It's 18 minutes. So yeah, y'all, I will see you guys next week for another recap of Abbott Elementary. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see y'all later. Peace.